handle the truth.
Flying blind. Switch to that. Do you guys got sound now? Can you hear me now? I think you should have it if I have done this correctly. No? Still no audio? There we got sound, audio. Okay, well, welcome to Monday. I don't know if that's a Monday thing or not, but anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. Let me see here. That one there is that. Okay, so we want to make sure that we go to, okay, that is that. So everything is good and perfect. All right, now, okay, so, hi, I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Well, let's give you the date real quick because the government's never wrong. By God, they're never wrong. August 10th, it's a Monday, 2026. Well, let me get to the intro there. We got that done. Let me tell you about my woes on the backside. Obviously, you saw that whole failure of things. So as I got started, I found that the camera wasn't working for some reason. The light didn't come on. Well, I had accidentally on the weekends and when I'm not on this laptop, I unplug it. I do not have it allowable for Wi-Fi. I only allow for hard line. I unplug the hard line and the camera every day when I get done with the show. I don't want it hooked up to the camera. I don't want the camera having a power source. I don't want my laptop having hard internet going into it. I just don't. Now, every day I do this. I have been doing this now for, golly, at the daily update here, I've been doing that particular move for, golly, I want to say 6 years now. Today, for some reason, I flipped them. And I knew this had happened in the past over something else, but it wasn't right in the middle of the show. And I may have corrected it before I got started on the show. But anyway, it didn't happen. So the computers, remember, computers are never wrong. Computers are not habit-driven. Computers always do the same thing computers always do. And computers never do it wrong. They never add wrong. They never are wrong. It's always easy to catch a computer, right? This laptop, I know this laptop. I know that if I open certain programs before other programs, it doesn't like it. I know that if it has too much going on, or if I run one program, there's one program it particularly doesn't like. But I will tell you that it doesn't like having its ports moved around. Now, it didn't mind using the internet in the other port, but it didn't want to use the camera in the other port. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this, and then all I had to do was switch it around, and yet it still worked. See, this is where I want to believe that computers are so great. People are like, oh, computers are awesome. It's always you, Jimmy. Okay, well, I have this computer, and this is all it does. I do nothing else. Very rarely will I get on here to do anything unless it's like logging into some program that has a dual, I got to do a dual login thing or something like that. Very rarely am I on this laptop other than to just do this show, okay? And that's the whole point of it. This is a very expensive laptop. I've spent a lot of money on it up front. It was like $6,000 or $7,000 back when I bought it. It's $7,000 to replace it today. Well, anyway, I have the video set up. I have everything exactly the same way every single time. And yet I will come in here and things will be moved. Things will be changed around. Oh, today where my video feed usually comes from for my intro, well, that wasn't there. I had to go find it. And so, again, this is where we talk about computers and the reliability of robots and the reliability of autonomous drivers and, oh, I don't have to touch the wheel and Jesus takes the wheel or whatever it is. Or the fact that there's some Indian guy driving you to Kansas City from Wichita in your Tesla and you think that it's a hands-free experience when really there's a dude over there stressing out. He doesn't want to kill the American man on his way to his meeting. I mean, the point of it is, guys, is yes, there's a lot of amazing technology out there, and there are things that makes our lives just a little bit nicer here and there. I do like air conditioning. I do, but it makes us weak. It makes us soft. Oh, I love my purple mattress. I think my purple mattress is the most amazing thing on earth. I have slept on thousands of mattresses, folks, all the different hotels and Airbnbs and just life and experience in itself. I've slept on a lot of different surfaces, and I will tell you the purple mattress I have now is kind of knocks it out of the park, and that's no representation. I don't get to make any money on that. I just like their mattresses. But I will tell you, be very, very, very wise when shopping mattresses. Mattresses cost less than $100 to make. There's about $10 worth of material, and the rest is labor. And then the rest is just you getting shafted because someone somewhere decided that they could sell a blown-up piece of polyester rubber, and then you'll spend $6,000 or $12,000 or $15,000 on it. You really find out the backside of that entire industry. That's why they don't have to sell one or two a month. They can have 1,000 locations right next to each other, and as long as you buy one or two from them each month, they're going to make their nut. It's really crazy, dude. The mattress industry in itself is off the chain, right? But my mattress makes me soft. I know that sleeping on odd surfaces and I know that sleeping in different places actually challenges the body. And it causes you to actually fight and resist and actually makes you stronger and more resilient. And that is what makes you live longer. Hey, Brenda, thank you so much for being here. Good to see you guys. Gumbo over on YouTube, thank you so much for being a part of that over there. Appreciate that. Or Gumby, sorry, Gumby, not Gumbo. You know, English is my first language. I'm really trying to learn how to master this language. And I know that they say after 10,000 hours, but I've got almost 1,500 episodes. That's 1,500 hours at minimum. So I'm not even close to mastering my craft. Is that what that says? Anyway, but guys, things that we look for in comfort, that sandy beach with our butt in the little swingy little hammock chair and a little cool drink in the shade and a cool breeze. That is meant for those times, because that can't be life. Life is never the Instagram reel of, oh, look at my life. Look at me. Look what I do. I literally have a friend of mine who his wife, who again, I liked her. She's a nice girl. She's a 5, maybe. Okay. She listen to me, folks. She divorced my buddy, my friend, because it wasn't Instagram. Not my words, guys. I'm not trying to fill in the blank here. I'm telling you what the conversation was for him. That why aren't we having the Instagram dinners? Hashtag, all about the pesto. I mean, what happened to pesto? I thought pesto was on everything. I thought life was pesto for a while. How come we don't do pesto on everything? I thought that was the only thing that people could appreciate about going out to eat, was if it had pesto. Remember that whole pesto craze there for a while? Why did that jump over that far? Why did it do that? That is amazing. See, that's why it's got me on the edge. Why? Why does it have me on the edge? That is weird. That is weird, wacky stuff. Well, maybe I wasn't centered to begin with. That's better. All right. All right. So air conditioning makes us soft. I get that. So does heat. But the crazy thing about cold is cold can actually, there's a lot of good about it, but it's different in the way that it slows things down. But we do have an ability to make sure that we're getting the healing energy of the sun, and that's release of fire or oxidation of wood or coal or even natural gas. These are all oxidative releases of the sun's energy. I'm trying to use this in a very simple way. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's for the YouTube crowd out there and whoever else needs to, decide that what I know or I do not know. Hey, by the way, let me ask you guys a quick question here. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I'm not a, why is that jump? Am I in the right spot? There we go. Let's do that. Stay there, Jimmy. Don't move around so much. There we go. That's better. Okay, do you know why the word isn't is or isn't in the dictionary? Do you want to know why? And guys, if you guys think that there is some type of committee of just the intellect sitting around, just piling through, just making sure that they've mastered every angle of the English language and that the word isn't, whether it should or should not, or the word not or should not, or the conjunction or the gadunka of. There's not a pool of these intellects who sit around in robes and crappy wigs and go, oh, when we have now made sure through the research of the man and making that the word isn't is allowed. Oh, and here's the facts and here's why we're doing it. Do you know why words are modified and why definitions are modified? It's because we did. Well, we don't use it like that anymore, so we don't call it a femilimala, we just call it a femilimala. And but it doesn't mean that, but it means this. No, well, and it's one of these two. Because if in a plural, it could be those. Do you know that that's all it is? And guys, you can get mad at me and go, Jimmy, it is. These people are doing their seriousness job. Do you know that the dictionary company just wants to sell dictionaries? It's a business. They're selling words. It's called a business. And by the way, The person who was holding the definition of all the words that you think are the words, and the reason you use them, was Ghislaine Maxwell's father. So don't tell me how you sit up here and you want to get mad at old Jimmy for trying to make it a little simple and say, well, they don't just change it whenever they want. They can't do that. There's an intellectual governing body of people that go out there and do the right thing, and they're going in and they're researching. And oh, you mean like the Council of Nicaea, where they decided what they wanted to add and take out, and then the government came in and they got to add and take out? See, we can't ignore that part of a huge stamp in history of the modification of what we use as historical facts about our existence and why we have holidays and why we do what we do and say what we say and restrict what we restrict and allow what we allow. We have seen the touch of man, and we're not silly to it. We actually embrace the Council of Nicaea and the wisdom of it. Do we? Because the very people that we say are our enemies in some ways in the Christian world, well, they're Catholic, and well, we're Baptist, well, we're Protestant, well, no, we're Jewish, no, we're Latter-day Saint, no, we're Lutheran. Who are we mad at, and who are we keeping this from? But by the way, the Vatican was the one that was the gatekeeper for most of the information, weren't they? The very people who have thousands upon, I don't know, they're admitted miles or 1,000 miles worth of library that they have that they've not released to the public. I mean, those people, the whole idea behind the Washington, D.C., the City of London, and the Vatican, that little trifecta in 1871. Can we talk about why we glaze over the Vatican, the religion that had actually created the Knights Templar, the Friday the 13th event that we all know to be real? We all know we celebrate the Friday the 13th as this day of horror when the Vatican sent out the command that all Knights Templars were to be executed on sight, and that's where De La May was then taken back and drawn and quartered in the Vatican courtyard. That church that in 1871, when we were at our weakest, when we needed to borrow money to be able to keep going as this country who was torn apart by the Rothschild banks to then weaken us so that we went to them and then we went into the bondage that we still live under today. 1871, the corporate institution, the bar associated, the robed judges. By the way, if you go back into the 1617 and early 1800s, we didn't have robed judges. We didn't. So the point of this is, guys, is you can call the British Accredited Register. You can call it whatever you want. You can say, well, it's just a bunch of guys who got an association, but you can't play in their courtrooms and you can't play their game unless you're one of them. And you've paid your dues and you've passed their test and you've taken their oath, but you don't call that a secret society. You don't call that an association by fellowship. No, you call that just a job. That who goes around and dictates the very sentences and the very outcomes of trials and all these different things where people's lives are thrown away or torn apart. That association, the very social groups we talk about, it's right in front of your face. They pay dues to it, but you don't call it a brotherhood. You call it an association. You call it a job. But that association, that brotherhood just happens to have a job as well, where judges and district attorneys and they're all attorneys and they're all against and for each other. Which is against you or me? As I watched mine stand there as he said, oh, we're going to do a misdemeanor, and he watched me go to felony. As my high-paid, high-powered attorney, international attorney, doing international business, doing cool guy stuff, big money things. told me how he was fighting for me and he was doing the right thing for me. The day before New Year's, we had to close the case out before the new year. Hurry up and get this closed before the new year's out. Get that little extra money in. By the way, guys, there's a bond on all your cases, and it's all very real, and it's not a make-believe thing. I don't want to, I said it today's episode as government with GOV question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't understand how I can look around at my fellow man, and I can read articles about Fauci, who I had to sit here, and him and Fauci and Birx got up there, and I had to talk in code language to my followers because I kept getting banned, because I kept getting demonetized, because I lost all the stuff that I can make money on because I called it a vaccine. I called it, so I had to call it the government injection, the government chemical. Oh, they want you to take that government chemical and put that in your body. Remember I used to do that? I can't even do it now. I used to make a little sound, like they were giving you a little squirt of something. So my problem was I went through all that, but here's the problem. More Fauci phone revelations. Newly released text message show Biden Surgeon General discussed concern that it was mutating babies. Not that they thought it could, but they were seeing babies with mutations from mothers who took this. But my GOV, my .gov is the most important thing. They're the most verifiable expert witnesses on earth, right? The GOV of the United States, or the GOV of China or Russia or Ukraine or whoever. They're the most importantest ever. Because they have to maintain that control, because if they don't hold the authority over you, you might just have free will. You might just go out and do things without them and not include them in your plans. And they're very selfish and narcissistic. They want to know what you're doing. Right, Flock cameras? Right, Palantir? Right, all the little cameras that I got to have on every damn device I own? How weird do you got to be that you got to put a camera on so much of my stuff and then record me all the time? And what are you doing with it? What do you need to see me that much for? I don't know if I have anybody in my life so obsessed with me the way Apple and Google and all the other apps on my phone are so obsessed with me. Maybe I should feel really good about that these multi-trillion-dollar corporations, international corporations, can't wait but to look at me taking a leak, in the shower, soaping it up, giving it the business, hearing me talk in my sleep. I think it's kind of weird. But see, the government's okay with it because they get a little taste too. They don't mind that they're in there because when the government's like, well, hey, when you're in there, man, you give me a little bit of that too, right? You can give me a little information. That way I can catch the criminals, right? I got to catch the criminals. I got to get in there. No, they just want to make sure you're not stepping on their toes. See, this is a problem as I go through and I look at how I keep hearing about things like, we're going to say that we're not going to do childhood vaccines unless they're the gold standard. Guys, do you know what the gold standards of vaccine really is? And I know I'm not a doctor. And I'm completely making all this up, and I have no education. I'm just kind of a dirt-to-dirt here on TV. But you know what? You know what the best vaccine on earth is? Is your family. Is your mother's breast milk. Is the cow that has the little bit of bacteria that forms in the milk that actually allows your intestines to actually build out bacteria that creates an immune system in you. And then as you go out and you do things and that's what creates But also, if you were to be exposed to the herpes virus, the chickenpox virus, the cytomegalovirus, these are all the same virus, by the way. They just kind of smear it. It's just where it exposes itself on your body. But how do you create immunity to that? But also by being exposed to it. Oh, you're going to die from it. You know why people die? It's not usually the people in the country. It's the people in the cities. See, the problem is that they cannot get past the point when people get too close, and this is again thing. There's a lot of science behind 1 acre to 20 acres between families, showing that yes, you can have high density family properties, but the neighbors are like 1 to 20 acres away. They show how that creates a balance. And how it really is great for the people, but when they show that they break down into city lots, less than quarter, eighth, 16th acre lots, you start creating high capacity apartments and buildings. This is where it does not matter, guys. I am not making this up. This is where you get gender dysphoria. This is where you get homosexuality. This is where you get suicides. They've done this in mice colonies. They've done this in dogs. They've watched it in humans. Just look at New York. Why is it? Well, it's a high-density place, and they cannot explain it away. It has nothing to do with politics. Trust me, guys, politics don't help. It has nothing to do with the money. Again, money doesn't help. But what it is, something about the high density of humans that are not interrelated to each other, it creates a weirdness. And this too high density, when they get into these high towers, they cannot explain it away. They have looked through civilizations over history. They've seen it happen every single time. New York is not special. Hong Kong is not special. LA is not special. These high density areas are not special with the effect of homosexuality and gender dysphoria. Transgender or whatever the hell we're going to call it today. But that's not a Jim Price thing. This is just look it up. You go out and look at it yourself and just research how much of our society we do things that be only because of the environment we're in and the pressures we're under. Most of what we're doing today in our society has nothing to do with actually what you want to be. It's what's being pressed out of you. You know, as they press down on you, it's how you spring out. It's what you come out as. Some people come out as accountants. Some people come out as pilots. Some people come out as, painters. I mean, it's whatever, right? Whatever they squeezed and stuck to. But there's so much pressure, right? But what happens if we actually relieve the pressure? Well, then actually when the people move out of the high-density populations, they revert back to their natural state of heterosexuality and lack of gender dysphoria. That is not a Jim Price thing. Again, this is all the research that's out there. Just like a man and a woman in the home and the successful nature of that child. A single father has the same success rate as a mother-father, as a bio-mother-father. And a bio mom with a male role model in the house. A single father can do the same thing as that. At the same level that a male father with a female mother, I have to clarify that nowadays, I don't know why, that success rate of over 70% keeping a child out of prison is the same failure rate as a single mother. And we can't deny that in society, but yet we say it doesn't work that way. But yet we put the children with the mother always. We displace the father out of the children's life and say, well, only the mother can do it. But yet we have the high-density apartment rates which shows that it creates all these weirdness. But, guys, that's the crazy part of I don't understand is why that we keep trying to do that, other than it's a really great tax base. And the only one that benefits from stacking people on humans is the government. Because people that are away from each other and that have land think freely and the government's not involved, and then there's not as much money to go to the government because there's not as much density for the government. Do you understand how that works? See, when you get high-density governments like these voting blocks in New York City, people get very, very involved, right? because all of a sudden they have something to lose. They have something to control. There's a lot of that, and that's where government isn't necessary. So this Fauci thing, and again, I think Fauci is he's an old man that they're going to run out there and they're going to give him enough Ativan and they're going to give him enough money, his wife enough money. She's got a little ATM card, a little Visa, the American Express BRAC card or whatever she uses, and it just always works. Whatever. They're leading him out to there. They're going to beat him up for the next 18 months to 2 years. He's going to be in and out of courts. Somebody's going to sue him for everything. Everybody's going to sue him for everything. So there's not going to be anything to get. And so it's all going to be very pointless at the end, because here's the problem, guys. He is only the tip of the spear of the machine that spent listen to me, this was globally. The budget was globally. $1 trillion of advertising was spent to tell you to take that. And this guy, you're trying to oh, Fauci, man. Well, who was the advertising agencies? Where did all this money come from directly, and which governments? Which agencies? What heads of agencies made those decisions? Who wrote those contracts? Who signed those contracts? Where was that money disseminated to, and who actually benefited from the commercials themselves? Who were the actors? Who were the studios? Who were the outlets? Who was the advertising agency that got to spend the money to all the other advertising agencies of that $1 trillion? See, the problem is you can say, oh, Fauci's the problem. Well, the government's the problem. But guys, you can say a thing is it. But this is a 25 million public employees in this country are making their own individual decisions every day. And you think this country can stay on course with a few little wild ones here or there? That's the ones you can just see. That's the ones that are popping up. That's the little whack-a-moles you see being weirdos. You don't see all the really mean, hateful shit that goes on behind the scenes when they want to take you out politically. When they want to make sure that your little coffee shop doesn't make it, so they'll make sure the road does some weird thing, or they put the construction out in front of it for 5 years while they watch you do nothing, while you die on the vine. Or they may just cut off your business from this, or they may put a bunch of cars down through your neighborhood. Oh, we didn't know that was going to happen when we made it a 4-lane highway in front of your house. Whoops. So the thing is you may think that doesn't happen politically, but are you paying attention to the world you live in at all? This is happening all the time, and we talk about it all the time. So a couple concerns I have is, one, you feeding the beast. And the other thing is you're giving that energy to that beast, right? Well, then can you walk away from that beast? Can you? Too much of the programming have we said, no, we have to pay. I had a lawyer that told me he had to pay taxes because he wanted to. We had wrote a law in the state of Kansas that allowed for single, entrepreneurs, your small single, sole proprietor, stuff like that. A lot of your attorneys, a lot of your, donut shop owners, mechanic kind of guys. Well, it made it to where there was zero Kansas personal tax. No personal tax on your business. So suddenly, these business owners are like, wow, this is great. But I had an attorney say, no, we have to pay taxes. And he fought to get the law reversed, and so that they had to pay taxes again. And he told me how happy he was to pay that tax. Guys, how programmed are we? Here's the thing. I think sometimes, lawyers in the beginning was kind of a thing where they thought, oh, we'll try this thing and, maybe it'll work and we'll get we'll make a few dollars and it'll be our little scam for a while. But after a while, the scam kind of stuck. It's called the English government. But anyway, we got away from them for about 150 years. But now, I don't know. I've been told in a lot of different ways that are tied to the British government, and the things that we used to bend the knee to has been broken. One, with the Queen Elizabeth's death, but also with the visit of Trump and others. So we'll see how all this goes here in the near future. Woo-wee. So good stuff out there. Great comments. Courtney Allen, good to see you. Says, hi, class. Oh, that's right, everybody. Remember here at the Jim Price Show, half of your grade is participation and what's the other? Oh, attendance. Yeah. Just showing up. I'll give you half your grade just showing up. You got to say hello. But that's half your grade. And you know what? Your grades here at the Jim Price Show, they do go on your permanent record because, by God, we need to know what you did in third grade because that's everything. That just helps. That makes everything awesomer. So that's what we're doing here. We're gonna keep all those records. When you were tardy to gym class in junior high, we got that. We wrote that down. We got that on your right here. Hold on a second. What was that? It was January 28th. Yeah, we got that right there. That's what we're doing. That's the government, man. We're here to help you. Don't worry about it. It goes on your permanent record. And by the way, let's terrify children with that very statement. Dave Salee, good to see you over there on Rumble. Thank you guys so much for being there. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this little video clip of Alexandria Cortez, Alex Cortez, or whatever her name is. She went to a casting call, and she didn't realize that she was going to be in a House of Representatives. She was just going in just to be witty. She just wanted to be sarcastic and oops, I won a House of Representative job. And she's done a really good job of doing her part. And she was amazed by what a garbage disposal was because she lived her whole life in New York and never left the four boroughs. And a garbage disposal was amazed that there was this thing in the sink. And oh my gosh, what modern technologies have we come up with? She has come to confess, and she does. You gotta put your hand over your heart like it's a moment, like you and Jesus are coming together. And no, she told us that. Now I'm not trying to be sarcastic here, guys. This is where politics comes. This is where humanity and the joy of birth and motherhood and all these things that you really want to share with the world is that. Yeah, in times like these, she's going to have to freeze her eggs. Yeah, she's going to go in for, someone's going to go in there searching, and they're going to go in and grab a few of her eggs, and they're going to put them in a tube, and then they're going to tell her that they saved it, and then they're going to charge her $5,000 or $10,000 a year to hold those eggs in stasis. And then the whole taking it out thing, that's cheap too. That's like $2-3. It's like a coupon thing you get in the Sunday paper. So she needed to say that on a podcast. She's a 2-term. She makes $187,000. She makes a lot more than that. But on the her base salary. By the way, all your committees that you're on in the Congress, that ups your pay. If you're a chairman, co-chair. Those are called supplementals. Supplementals, they get those. You gonna get a little supplemental? You know that? Yeah. I got a little tickle in my throat there. I'm gonna do a little nicotine gum while we're talking here. Yeah, they're called supplementals. You ever talk to your teacher friends? Ask them if they have any supplementals. Well, I only make $57,000 a year. That Mercedes there is 2 years old. I don't know how you tell me a teacher is supposed to live on $57,000 a year. Remember, I was married to a teacher. You get supplementals. You can do lunch aid. You can do bus aid. You can be a department head. You can do what they call extra work. And then they have this other thing. If you fill out these forms, this busy work of, okay, I got this and I did this, then you get an extra little supplemental. And those supplementals can be upwards of $20,000 to $30,000 per year on top of the contract that nobody talks about. How about where you have recess duty, but it happens to be when you're actually teaching, so you don't have to show up, but you get paid for that? That doesn't happen? Okay. See, these are the things I just, it's This is the stuff I think it's like the sad part of it is I don't like the victimhood of it. Okay. Hey, by the way, you know what? In the Cool Kids Club of called teachering, not all teachers get benefits to these things. They don't get access to the lunch aid supplemental. They don't get the access to the bus aid supplemental. They don't get the recess supplemental. They don't get offered it because they're not in the Cool Kids Club. Oh, no, that's a principal deal. See, each principal runs their building the way they want. And if they want their friend, pet, well, that'll be my department head, and they'll get a supplemental. That'll be $3,000-$4,000 extra this year. Oh, and then they'll get the lunchroom supplemental but that's a no-show job for them because she knows that they actually are getting paid on another supplemental for tutoring before school instead of so they get you see how oops. But nobody's auditing that. Nobody's worried about that. But that's a system that goes on all the time. No, it does not, Jim. Okay, fine, it doesn't. I'm wrong. I made all that up. Must be me being crazy, right? 444 on the clock. Guys, it's the idea that we've allowed so much this to get out of the way, and we all forget how corruption works, and we all forget how the government works. But as I sit here and I look at these articles, and every single one of these things is over and over again where government has done too much too late. And it is never good. And the idea is all they're trying to do is trying to make their budgets work when they think that they have to keep adding money every year. I think every government, I think the best way you fix government right now is put it on a 10-year budget freeze. Absolute dead freeze. Hey, you figure it out. This is how much money you're going to get for your department from now for the next 10 years. And any money we have left over, first of all, pays down the debt. And anything that's left over, we put away for the years in the future to pay for the future going forward. And if in 10 years we haven't had enough to fund the next year, then we have to keep pushing back that 10 years. That budget freeze, guys, I think if we froze the budget absolute right now, we said no more, this is all you got, figure it out. Period. If we all got real brave, because we're not, we keep letting them borrow trillions and trillions of dollars, so ain't none of you brave, ain't none of you stopping it. You're all paying for abortions because your money goes into the same bucket that pays for abortions. Well, Trump stopped all that. Man, did he? Did he Planned Parenthood? There's a lot of companies out there still doing their, they give them certificates for health aid or health care. And then that certificate is then used for the abortion. Oh, we just gave him this voucher. You know, that's between the doctor and the patient. Oh, yeah, that's direct government money. Oh, no. It came from the .gov. Yeah, and then we just gave him the $3,000, and then they went and, I don't know, baby Jesus. Guys, you could say you don't pay into it. What about the ones we do internationally? What about all the Plan B stuff that people say they're against, right? Guys, we've got to get honest about this and start saying what it is and say that we want our government to stop, but you're not really, honestly, really, do you really want your government to stop? Because I don't think we need as many cops sitting around on motorcycles with LiDAR guns. I really don't. I don't think highway patrol pulling people over for expired tags or any of that. I don't think they think they should be monitoring traffic to make sure it's flowing as fast as possible. And that is all that they should be doing on the highways. Getting traffic moving. Crash on the field, get them off, get them moving. Strag them on the side. Let's go, like a rugby game. Rugby games don't stop. Maybe that's why I got an attitude like that. When an even guy gets injured, they just go out there and take care of him on the pitch. And if they could drag him off the side, they'll drag him off the side. Usually, and unless it's a major injury. And they don't do stop for play. Well, they've been getting a little lazier on that. They've been letting that happen a little more often. But, man, it didn't used to be that way. You get whacked in the whatever, you just keep going. You bleeding out, you just go there, get it fixed out. You got, what is it? I think it's 5 minutes to get back on after a blood. gut blood exchange. Hell, I had a broken nose 5 minutes into the game against OU. I didn't, or 10 minutes. It was about 10 minutes into the game. I got a bloody nose. I had blood on my shirt, and I was wiping off because I didn't want to get pulled out of the game. I stayed in. But see, that's a difference between some people, right? The sad part of it is, guys, is that we have a debt that we can't pay off now. And we know that we spend more on interest than we do on defense. And everybody complains about how much defense money we spend, or on the Department of War. Sorry, that's an old habit, Department of War. But we spend more on the interest payment now than we do the Department of War. So, guys, we really have become very fiscally unresponsible, and we do have to figure this out. Now, am I always the best on it? Do I always, no, I get it, guys, but we somewhere along the line, we got to start doing something here. And I do think that I think, and listen to me, I want you to understand this bankruptcy that is going to happen, and it will happen. This was all set up from 1970s, early 1971 through 73, when we transitioned all the way into the petroleum dollar that we exist in now, where all dollars are traded in, all petroleum is traded in U.S. dollars. And if we want to ignore that fact, guys, we just aren't playing. We're not playing all playing the same game. But there's going to be some things happening, and I wish that we could just be honest about what we have and go to something that we know that we can exchange in a value of currency, and that doesn't deplenish or deplete. The fiat currency we work under today is an entire scam that was built over 400 or 500 years ago. And yes, the Rothschild family and those that actually put that all together, and the families that perpetuated it, were brilliant in what they wanted to do. How do you blame them that they wanted to control the world's finances? You're mad at them because they did? Or are you mad at them because your family didn't do it? The sad part of it is we're playing in their game, and all we have to do is figure out how to stop. But if we don't figure out how to stop, then don't complain how they're doing it. You keep feeding the beast that's eating you. I don't understand that. Oh, yeah, you're eating me the best way you know how. Somewhere along the line, this government and what we have has got to figure it out. And if you guys like this system, then I don't know what to do for you. I don't. I want this system to fail. I want them to push back. I want them to start taking laws off the books. I want to figure out what freedom really looks like. I want to be a little bit like, oh my gosh, we don't have to have an exhaust on my truck because the government's not looking for it. I could get a ticket because my police officer said my exhaust is too loud. Are you shitting me, people? We're doing sound patrols now? Not Paw Patrol. It's Sound Patrol. That's freedom, right, people? Right? Safety. Safety first. Safety, that's what we want. Safety. Loud exhaust. That's what we do. I have no exhaust on my Harley because I don't want you to hit me when I'm around you, because I want my Harley to be heard first before you see me. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be about it for me. Remember the 10% we do for our neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government. The more you do for them, the less they have to do for you. Learn how to be selfless and not so damn selfish. The world will be a far, far better place. And it would, guys. We do learn how to self-govern. We wouldn't have all the shit we have right now. Anyway, hold the line. Hold fast. Do not give up. Do not give in. We'll win. I promise I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer out there. Remember, the Constitution limits the government, but never limits you. You've always been the answer if you know that this is a constitutional representative republic. Constitutional representative republic, not a democracy. We vote in a democratic process, not a democracy. We vote in a democrat process because we're in a republic. All right, guys, that's going to be about it for me. What a Monday. This whole thing got me all, wow. I was all over the place. Sorry about the whole audio thing. And by the way, I've got an update to do on this thing tonight because I got one coming up here. So I don't know what happened over the weekend. I shut this thing down normal. All the settings were completely changed for whatever reason. Again, remember, computers they're always on and off. They're not particular. It's not like one port likes the video and the other port likes the internet only. Right? All right, guys, that's about it for me. I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys be good to each other.